In a quiet neighborhood in the United States, Buddy, a dog who lives with the Brody family, spots an orange cat stealing the family's newspaper through the window. Without a second thought, he dashes after it, ignoring Scott's calls for him to come back. The chase continues all over the neighborhood until the cat climbs up a tree, but Buddy uses his weight to shake it and ends up launching the cat toward a nearby house. Inside the house, a woman is baking a cake when the cat suddenly crashes in, causing a huge mess. Although she manages to save the cake, Buddy bursts in seconds later and accidentally bumps into her, sending the dessert straight into her face. Even then, the dog keeps chasing the cat throughout the house, destroying everything in his path. In the end, the cat manages to lose him. Shortly afterward, Buddy finds the cat lying motionless in the street, as if it were dead. When he approaches it, a mysterious van suddenly appears and captures him. Unnoticed by anyone, the vehicle is actually operated by cats, who take the dog to an unknown location. Nearby, another dog named Butch witnesses the entire incident. He immediately enters his doghouse and activates a secret computer to contact a canine spy organization. There, he reports that Buddy has been kidnapped. The truth is that Buddy was a secret agent, and now that he has disappeared during a mission, they need to send a new undercover operative to keep an eye on the Brody family. A month later, on a farm, several beagle puppies are being raised together. Among them is one puppy who dreams of living great adventures. His brothers think he's crazy, but he tries to escape by building a makeshift device to launch himself through a window. The plan fails, and he crashes straight into the glass. Fortunately, he lands on a pile of hay, although a bucket falls on his head and knocks him unconscious. Just then, Carolyn Brody arrives at the farm after seeing an adoption advertisement. Meanwhile, the other puppies are making fun of their injured brother when the ground suddenly opens up. From a hidden tunnel emerges a Doberman who orders all the beagles into the passageway and replaces them with Doberman puppies. It turns out they are part of the same secret organization and have been sent to continue the mission. When Carolyn enters the barn to choose a pet, she is surprised to see puppies different from the ones she expected. Before she can pick one, the little beagle breaks free from the bucket he was trapped in. Carolyn immediately grows fond of him and decides to adopt him. Later, she takes him home because her husband, Professor Charles Brody, needs a dog for an important experiment. After examining him, Charles returns to his laboratory, and Carolyn introduces the puppy to Scott. However, the boy still misses Buddy and has no interest in another dog, even going so far as to call him a loser. Even so, Carolyn names him Lou and asks Scott to take him for a walk so they can become friends. Without much enthusiasm, the boy leaves Lou outside by himself. While exploring, Lou sees a bone-shaped biscuit fall through a hose and runs to catch it, but Butch stops him just in time and causes the biscuit to explode. Convinced that Lou is the new agent, Butch takes him to his doghouse and shows him a sophisticated computer. There, he explains that Buddy has already been rescued and is now enjoying his retirement. As Buddy's replacement, Lou must protect Professor Charles while he develops a formula capable of curing human allergies to dogs. However, the cats want to prevent the project from succeeding because they believe that if humans stop being allergic to dogs, they will end up preferring dogs over them. After bringing him up to speed, Butch takes Lou to meet the rest of the team. The first is Peek, who monitors the cats through a computer, and the second is Sam, who handles field surveillance. When Butch asks the puppy about his skills, Lou only proves that he knows how to chase his own tail. Realizing that the agency mistakenly sent an ordinary dog, Butch tries to request a replacement, but it's already too late. With no other choice, they will have to trust Lou to protect the professor. Butch then explains who their enemies really are. Although dogs have always been man's best friend, cats were worshipped by humans since the days of ancient Egypt. Over the years, dogs fought against them and prevented them from taking over the world. However, some cats still dream of ruling humanity, and the Canine Secret Agency's mission is to stop them. Lou's job will be to stay at the Brody house and use the communicator in his collar if anything suspicious happens. The puppy eagerly accepts the assignment, although he immediately gets distracted chasing a tennis ball. A short time later, Professor Charles approaches with a sample of his anti-allergy formula and injects himself with it. He then tests the results by getting close to the puppy's fur. Although he still sneezes, an unexpected side effect appears. Several pimples break out all over his body. The formula is not ready yet and still needs more work. Meanwhile, in a huge mansion, a Persian cat named Mr. Tinkles is in charge of the felines who kidnapped Buddy. His goal is to prevent Professor Charles from completing his research. However, in the middle of a meeting, Mrs. Sophie interrupts him to give him a bath and keep him looking spotless for his owner, Mr. Mason, a man who remains in a coma and spends his days confined to bed. Later, Mr. Tinkles discovers that a new spy has arrived at the Brody household. He immediately sends an attack team to eliminate him. That same night, a group of cats trained as ninjas takes off in small aircraft and heads toward the house. After detecting a suspicious signal, Peek alerts Lou, who goes out to investigate without realizing that two cats are moving across the roof using special gloves. The cats try to ambush him, but Butch spots them through the window and warns Lou just in time. The attackers end up crashing into each other, although they quickly recover and begin beating up the puppy. While getting pummeled, Lou follows Butch's instructions and learns to defend himself using his paws. Thanks to that, he manages to fight back and take on both cats at the same time. Even so, one of the ninjas lands a powerful spinning kick that sends him flying straight into the garbage cans. The noise wakes up the Brodas, forcing the cats to flee before they are discovered. When Charles enters the kitchen, he finds Lou lying among the trash. Believing that the puppy caused the mess, Carolyn cleans everything up and punishes him by making him sleep outside. Shortly afterward, Peek and Sam come over to congratulate him. They cannot believe that a rookie managed to take on two ninja cats by himself. However, Butch reminds him not to get overconfident, since the cats came very close to infiltrating the professor's laboratory. After strengthening security around the neighborhood, everyone returns to their posts. While walking through the yard, Lou meets an elegant female dog named Ivy, who turns out to be an old friend of Butch's. After introducing herself, Ivy gives him a piece of meat and says goodbye, telling him that they will see each other again very soon. The next day, Scott attends his school's soccer tryouts. Although Professor Charles is busy with his research, he promises that he will come watch him play. However, he never shows up, and to make matters worse, Scott has a poor tryout and fails to make the team. Seeing how discouraged he is, Lou tries to approach him in a friendly way. The gesture surprises the boy, and the two end up playing together. Little by little, Scott grows attached to the puppy and finally accepts him as part of the family. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Mr. Tinkles becomes furious when he learns that the ninja cats failed their mission. Even so, his assistant Calico informs him that they managed to tap the Brodas phone line and obtain information about the experiment. The feline leader then decides to send another agent, one far more dangerous, a cat known as the Russian. Later, Carolyn finds a cat on the street that appears to be sick and abandoned. Feeling sorry for it, she decides to bring it home. However, as soon as the cat is left alone, the supposedly helpless feline reveals his true identity. It is the Russian, who coughs up a hairball containing a secret device. Inside is dog droppings, which he throws onto the carpet in order to frame Lou. When Carolyn discovers the mess, she once again throws the puppy out of the house. Taking advantage of the fact that nobody is nearby, the cat heads to the laboratory and plants a bomb on the door. Lou rushes to warn Butch, and the two enter through the basement, catching the intruder just as he is about to complete his plan. The dogs order him to stop, but the Russian responds by launching another hairball containing a spiked detonator. Once activated, the spikes shoot across the room, and Lou and Butch barely manage to take cover behind a couch. After that, the cat sets the bomb to explode in 1 minute. While Butch tries to disarm it, he asks Lou to distract the enemy. The puppy starts barking at him, but the Russian spots Butch and throws a boomerang. Although Butch manages to dodge it, he ends up hanging from a piece of furniture that is about to fall over. The cat attacks again, but Lou jumps in front of the strike and ends up spinning uncontrollably around the room. Fortunately, the boomerang flies back directly toward the Russian, forcing him to move out of the way. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Butch rushes to the bomb and prepares to cut the correct wire. The problem is that dogs cannot distinguish colors. With only seconds remaining, he decides to cut one at random and successfully stops the countdown with just 1 second left before the explosion. Although the bomb has been disabled, the Russian tries to reactivate it. However, at that very moment, Professor Charles exits the laboratory and unknowingly opens the door, hitting the cat and sending him crashing into the wall. He then approaches Lou to test another version of the formula. This time, instead of being cured, his nose swells to an absurd size. After returning to work, Charles leaves without noticing the chaos that took place inside the house. Later, Butch calls in a special cleanup team and congratulates Lou on his performance during the mission. Once everything has been cleaned up, the Russian is taken to the dog's headquarters for interrogation. Although he refuses to reveal any information, the scientists examine everything hidden inside his body. Among various weapons and espionage devices, they discover a letter connected to the mission, decorated with a Christmas tree drawing. Not knowing exactly what the symbol means, the agency continues its investigation while Butch orders security to be increased. Sometime later, Scott invites Lou to play soccer. Even though he is still on a mission, the puppy accepts, and the two spend some quality time together. Later, they begin running all around the house just as Professor Charles takes a break and accidentally leaves the laboratory door open. Without meaning to, Scott and Lou send the ball into the lab and end up spilling all the formulas the professor has spent so long developing. When Charles sees the mess in the laboratory, he scolds Scott and forces him to leave, convinced that all of his work has been ruined. However, the spilled substances accidentally mix together, and the computer detects an unexpected reaction. After analyzing it, it indicates that the formula is finally complete. Without wasting any time, Charles injects himself with the formula and tests the results by approaching Lou. To his surprise, he suffers no allergic reaction whatsoever. After so many attempts, he has finally found the cure. Excited by the discovery, he calls his boss to share the news. But the cats are still listening to all of his conversations, and Mr. Tinkles learns about it immediately. As soon as he finds out that the formula is ready, he orders Calico to gather all of their agents and stop the cure from being distributed around the world. A short time later, Mrs. Sophie appears carrying a ridiculous cleaning uniform for the cat. Fed up with the situation, Mr. Tinkles finally loses his patience and starts speaking in front of her. The moment she hears a cat talking like a human being, the woman faints from shock. Taking advantage of the situation, the cats place Mr. Mason in a wheelchair and bring him to his company so they can enter without raising suspicion. Once there, they use the man as a front while Mr. Tinkles speaks for him and gives orders to the employees. After clearing the building, the cats put the next phase of their plan into motion. Hours later, Scott receives a mysterious package at home. Inside, he finds a custom-made cap and 3 free tickets to a soccer match taking place that very afternoon. He insists so much that Charles finally agrees to take the whole family to the stadium. However, when they arrive, they discover that no one is there. While Charles tries to figure out what is going on, someone throws a sleeping gas capsule into the vehicle. Within seconds, the entire family is knocked unconscious. That night, Lou is still waiting for the Brotus to return when Butch arrives to inform him that the mission is over. He thanks Lou for his service and offers him a place at the Spy Dog Academy. If he completes the training, he can officially become an agent and take part in missions around the world. But Lou turns down the offer because he wants to stay with the Brody family. At that moment, Sam reports that he has spotted a suspicious cat roaming around the neighborhood. When they investigate, they discover that it is Calico, who hands them a videotape. When they play the recording, Mr. Tinkles appears on the screen alongside Charles, Carolyn, and Scott, who have been kidnapped. The cat demands the formula and all of the professor's research notes. He also states that he will be waiting at Pier 9 and threatens never to release the family if his conditions are not met. After watching the message, Lou decides to rescue them. However, Butch insists that the situation is far too dangerous and that they need support from the agency. He then activates a hidden mechanism inside his hideout, and both dogs are transported through an underground tunnel to the headquarters of the Spy Dogs. There, Butch presents the case before the Canine Tribunal to determine whether the agency should intervene. But since the formula has already been completed, the judges believe that rescuing the family is too risky. They fear that the cats could obtain the cure if anything goes wrong, so they decide not to take action. Outraged by the decision, Lou asks Butch to help him save the Brotus on their own. However, the veteran refuses. According to him, humans are not always loyal and can abandon their dogs once they no longer need them. It is then revealed that Butch was abandoned by his former family, which is why he no longer trusts people. Even so, Lou remains convinced that the Brotus are different. But Butch walks away and leaves him alone. With no other option, the puppy takes the formula and the professor's notes and heads to Pier 9 by himself. When he arrives, he finds an elegant limousine parked by the harbor. But as soon as he approaches, the doors swing open and Mr. Tinkles steps out along with all of his henchmen. Shortly afterward, Butch realizes that Lou has disappeared and sets out to find him. When he reaches the pier, he finds the puppy lying on the ground. The plan has failed. Mr. Tinkles tricked him, obtained the formula, and also stole all of the professor's research notes. At that moment, a nearby telephone begins to ring. When the dogs answer it, they hear Mr. Tinkles mocking them and thanking Lou for making his job easier. He also reveals that he has modified the formula to create a substance that will make all humans allergic to dogs. After hanging up, Lou wants to go after him immediately, but Butch believes it is already too late. Just then, Ivy appears. The female dog overheard the entire conversation and assures them that they still have a chance. As a former agent, she carries several special gadgets, including a tracking device that she managed to place on Mr. Tinkles' limousine. Following the signal, Lou, Butch, and Ivy arrive at Mr. Mason's factory. There, they discover the same Christmas tree symbol that appeared on the letter found earlier. While they search for a way inside, Mr. Tinkles visits the Brody family and removes the blindfolds covering their eyes. He then explains to Professor Charles that he has modified the formula and turned it into a weapon against dogs. To prove it, he applies some of the substance to Scott and places a dog in front of him. Immediately, the boy starts sneezing. With the formula completed, Mr. Tinkles puts the next phase of his plan into motion. Before leaving, he tries to get rid of the witnesses using a pistol, but it turns out to be a toy gun. The cork shoots out and ricochets around the room until it strikes a filter. This causes a water leak that reaches some electrical wires and starts a fire. Satisfied with the result, the cat leaves the building and abandons the family to the flames. Meanwhile, back at the factory, the villain unveils his army of rats. His plan is to cover them with the substance and send them through the sewers to spread it everywhere. Before long, humans would no longer be able to go near any dog. Just as the rats are about to depart, Lou, Butch, and Ivy burst into the factory. The dogs shove several barrels into the cats, Butch blocks the tunnel exit, and Ivy uses a hose to wash the substance off the rats. In the middle of the chaos, Lou races upstairs and finds the Brody family trapped inside the burning building. He quickly frees them and guides them toward a safe exit. However, when he looks back, he sees Mr. Tinkles using an excavator to trap Butch. Without hesitation, Lou jumps through a window and manages to climb onto the machine. A fierce struggle begins as the dog and the cat fight for control of the excavator. During the battle, Mr. Tinkles manages to trap Butch, but Lou takes control of an aircraft loaded with the substance and fires it directly at the cat. The impact knocks him out of the excavator and allows Butch to escape. But the danger is not over yet. The excavator strikes Lou and sends him flying through the air, while the machine producing the substance begins to overload and is on the verge of exploding. Without wasting a second, Charles leads his family and Mr. Mason out of the factory. At the same time, Butch finds Lou unconscious beneath the rubble. Once outside, Scott desperately calls out to his friend. Seconds later, the entire factory explodes. The boy fears the worst until he sees Butch emerge from the wreckage carrying Lou. The puppy still does not respond, and Scott takes him into his arms, begging him to wake up. For a moment, everyone believes that Lou did not survive. But at last, he opens his eyes. The little beagle is alive, and thanks to him, both dogs and humans have been saved. A few days later, the Brody family is enjoying a peaceful afternoon with their new pet. While they are playing in the yard, Lou goes to fetch a ball and finds Butch waiting on the other side of the fence. The veteran tells him that he is about to begin a new mission and offers Lou the chance to come along. However, Lou decides to stay with the family he has learned to love. In the end, everything works out well for the heroes. The only one who does not share the same fate is Mr. Tinkles. As punishment for all of his crimes, he ends up back under Mrs. Sophie's care. But instead of taking him home to Mr. Mason, she introduces him to several friends who are absolutely delighted by him. From that day on, the proud cat is forced to wear all kinds of ridiculous costumes and pose for endless photo sessions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this movie.